Okay. Okay. So, welcome. So good to have you here, Mark and Javier. And for those of you joining after hours on the recording, and we are just going to dive right on into exploring emotions and communication and sharing what it looks like to communicate your feelings without starting a fight. And we're going to cover a few things today. So how emotions are created and what creates them, why it's been feeling so difficult to express and share emotions with your partner, and why this is a problem for so many people. I'll also answer why people feel such strong emotional responses in relationships. Sometimes it feels like when we're by ourselves and not in a relationship, then things are great. But then when we're in contact with our partner, it's like, what the heck? Why am I on this emotional roller coaster all of a sudden? We'll also explore looking at how to start a conversation in a way that invites your partner to be ready to listen. And really, after this workshop, what I'm seeing for you is you feeling light and just like free to communicate, to share, because you have this deeper understanding about your own feelings and how to calmly and kindly share and express them with your partner. And I mean, I'm even seeing you a week from now, maybe looking in the mirror, getting ready for work or something with just this huge smile ear to ear, and you're thinking, whoa, I feel good. Something has shifted in me and in my relationship, and seems like communication between the two of us has actually been really good. It's been feeling really calm, cool, collected and connected. And so that's what I'm seeing for all of you here attending today. And thumbs up if that would be okay. That'd be okay with you. Sweet. Awesome. Great. So let me ask you something. I'd be willing to bet that all of you kind of suck to be around when you're upset. Am I right? Is that true? Okay. Yeah. Me too. I'm not the most pleasant to be around when I'm upset. So what that means is that your partner, even if they were the most selfish person on the planet, has absolutely zero interest in making you upset, because it sucks to be around somebody who's huffing and puffing and blowing the whole house down like a thunderstorm. Or maybe you go the other route and you're like a quiet, hiding, like sassy, passive aggressive turtle with a mean side eye. But either way, not great, not great to be around when we're upset. And so, even the most selfish person on the planet would not want that, right? So, if there's something that your partner is doing that is causing upset, causing emotion in you, it's got to be unintentional by default, because it's not great for them. So what that means is that it'd be smart to assume that your partner actually has good intentions, because they don't want to hang out with you when you're upset. So they do have good intentions. It's just might be landing the wrong way. Does that all make sense there? Yeah. Okay. So I know it made sense for me when I thought about it that way. It's like, oh yeah, okay, they're not trying to make me upset. I'm no fun. So now that you get that, it's in your partner's best interest that you're feeling good, that your emotions are, that you're feeling good, you're happy. And knowing this is already shifting how you're going to be communicating about your feelings with your partner. It's just going to start to show up in a different way, because you're like, oh, you didn't mean to make me feel this way. Okay, let's have this conversation. Okay. So let's see here. And I'm going to open the chat too. Okay. Great. Cool. So you guys can, I'm not going to be super looking at the chat, because I really just want to focus on getting you guys this info and doing some experiential stuff. But I'll check from time to time to see who's in the chat, if there's any questions. And there will be time for questions. and some coaching at the end if you have specific questions on anything we go over, or you're just like, oh, but how would I communicate this, or what would this look like? So we'll do some of that too. Awesome. I'd like to begin by telling you a little bit about how I think about things so that we're looking through the same lens. And from there, you can check out this way of thinking and see, do I like this? Does this work for me before we apply it to you and your relationship? So what we're going to explore today is going to be, I think, incredibly interesting for you to learn about and hear about. And all of the clients that I've shared this with have found that they can apply it right away, and it immediately improves communication with their partner, which of course means that it improves the relationship as a whole and just how they feel as a whole, feeling lighter and easier, and like things are just like flowing and connected between them and their partner. So in order for you to effectively share your feelings with your partner, it would be useful to explore where emotions come from. Where do they come from? Why do they exist? These are the things we don't really stop to think about. We're just like experiencing emotion and sometimes wishing some of those big emotions like fear and anger weren't there. Most of us never stop to think about why our body, creates these emotions and what they're actually used for. So we're going to explore some of this stuff so you have some deeper insight into that. Most people tend to think that emotions and thoughts and sensations are caused by something from the environment, like outside of them, something that is either happening, has happened in the past, or might happen in the future. So let's say you are on a safari in Africa and you see a zebra running from a lion. And the guy next to you might say, whoa, that lion sure put some fear right into that zebra. And you might say, well, that's a colorful way of thinking about it, but I'm pretty sure it was the zebra's mind that created that fear. Of course, this is the classic fight or flight response that the zebra's mind triggered as soon as it saw the lion. We know that it's not possible for the lion to kind of run over and drop some fear into the zebra's body, because that would just be ridiculous. Like we know that it's something happening from within the zebra. So if we're thinking like a scientist on the safari, watching this go down, we know what really happened was the senses of the zebra, like sight, sound, smell, the senses of the zebra brought in information into the zebra's mind. The mind scanned it, read the information, and realized, oh, the lion is coming. So we could say that it's the mind of the zebra, not the lion, which caused the zebra to be focused and motivated, and for her legs to become much stronger so she could run like the wind and survive the lion. So an emotion like fear in the zebra is designed to cause something to happen. Therefore, you'd explain to me that the mind of zebra is causing fear to try to get the zebra to run away, obviously, so she can save her life. And we're starting to see that like the number one intention of the mind, the zebra's mind, is it's all about survival. And survival first above anything. And if survival's taken care of, then maybe the mind is interested in thriving, but it's always all survival all day, especially out in the wild. So let's look at another example with the zebra. So next, the zebra sees this big old bird land near her baby zebra and peck at the baby zebra's head. And Mama Zebra's senses, again, bring in the data about the bird. The zebra's mind reads the data about the bird, and then zebra's mind causes an emotion in her body, and this physical sensation where her body starts to get stronger, her jaw gets stronger and tight. And, with a thrust of a head and a snap of the teeth, she can scare that bird away. And, in this case, we can see, well, this wasn't fear, this was anger. That the zebra's mind saw the bird and was like, oh, you're getting my baby bird, I'm gonna snap ya. And so although there are many physiological similarities between fear and anger, there's just a few differences that you might want to just kind of be aware of. For instance, when a when a person is angry, his face may turn red, like blood is actually rushing to the face, the jaw gets tightened, and you might even like kind of see it's almost like a cartoon character sometimes when people get mad. The eyes narrow and get really focused. Now, on the flip side, when we're looking at fear, somebody where there's fear going on inside of the body, like face might go flush, like turn white, and eyes might like get really wide and really open. And that's just this natural physiological emotional response to fear and anger. And those work super well for a zebra. When the zebra is afraid, it's motivated to run and its legs become stronger. When the zebra is angry, it's motivated to bite, right? Like its jaw gets really strong so I can go and go bite that bird or another zebra, whoever's messing with their baby. So running fast or biting hard are great solutions, perfect solutions to just about any situation that would be problematic for a zebra. This survival mechanism is automatic and assumes highest priority. It's like fear and anger go right to the top of the emotional experience. Fear and anger always beat like any other emotion. So when zebra is running from a lion, the zebra is not going to stop and like eat something or drink something or take a nap or even have sex. Like all these other things just get shut down so that it can survive, of course. So you all get that, and that makes perfect sense. So this is all good and dandy if you're living in the animal world. However, this same fight or flight mechanism that is built into the zebra for survival in the wild is also built into humans, but with zero modification. We literally have that same emotional, not updated to modern civilization part of our brain, which is kind of wild. So this explains why this starts to explain like, oh, okay, maybe this is why there's so much freaking emotion that runs through our bodies and in our relationships. So for a human living in modern civilization, this response, this anger and this fear response is pretty useless. So for any of you, when was the last time you needed to have a really strong jaw so that you could run over and bite someone, right? Like, when do we ever need that like emotional and physiological response of anger? Or when is the last time that, you needed like all the blood to like go to your legs and you needed your heart to beat really, really, really fast, and you needed your logic to decrease, and you like needed to run away from a lion? This is the body's reaction to fear, and we're just so unlikely to encounter a predator that would cause our life to depend on speed. So again, anger and fear is worse than useless in human beings. Just not like that sort of physiological response isn't great for us. And humans, what we're getting at here is humans have the wrong equipment to navigate the situations of modern life and relationship, such as having a conversation about emotions with a significant other. Stuff goes on there where that animalistic brain is like reading your partner as a threat, as a lion, when really they're not at all. They're just your partner there. So when we think about it in this way, that feelings are only caused by the mind in order to get us to do something or stop something, it gives you and I more power so that I can start to adjust how your mind is processing information, and any painful emotions you've been experiencing will start to dissipate even as we talk about it today, even as you learn this new information today. So thinking about it in this way will also fuel these calm, connected, respectful, and kind conversations with your partner when it comes to emotion. And by the way, when we're thinking about, anger or fear, and how they're just not really helpful at all. Like if we want to have like a calm, connected conversation, when we're either fearful or angry, let's look at what goes way down, like what tanks. And what tanks is logic. Reasoning goes way down, creativity goes way down, connectedness goes way down, fun, play, sensuality, all of these things go way down when we're afraid or angry. And so no wonder these conversations we try to have with our partner just kind of get out of whack, because literally our frontal lobe, where we're able to suppress emotions, not be so reactive, logic, reasoning, like collaborative, creativity, that part of our brain literally goes to sleep so that we can outrun the lion. And the brain thinks the lion is your partner, right? So I can see you're getting that. And it's just like, okay, yeah, maybe these feelings aren't super useful for me. So, another example of this anger thing is so there's this really talented martial arts instructor, master sensei, and somebody was interviewing him and saying, okay, here's a scenario. So one of your students is walking down the street with his daughter, and there's a guy standing on the street corner, and he says something nasty to the daughter. So he says, well, how angry do you want your student at this guy? This guy just said, something really, really rude and nasty to his daughter. Like, don't you want him like angry? And the martial arts master says, no anger, no anger. Anger makes you stupid and predictable. He says, I want my student to make that guy angry, so he's stupid and predictable. And so it just goes to show, I can't really think of anywhere, any time that you'd want to have decreased logic, decreased reasoning, decreased creativity. That makes sense. We're gonna keep rolling with this. So here, let's look at, and before I go on with that, the anger thing. So that's exactly why, I don't know if you've heard, relationship people saying that you never go to bed angry, like always make up, never go to bed angry. That's exactly why you want to go to bed angry, because there is no purpose in trying to have a connected, logical, calm, understanding conversation with your partner if your brain is reading them as a threat still, and it doesn't make any sense. So go to bed angry if you can't get to that state. It's not worth it to risk having that conversation with your partner when you are angry, because you're just going to do and say things that you will regret. We've all done it. So bringing it back to this truth that our mind creates emotions in order to get us to stop something, in order to get us to so our mind creates emotions in order to get something to stop, so that we can survive. So let's look at a baby monkey. So if a baby monkey falls off of her mama's back, that baby monkey's mind will take in the information, like I've fallen, right? And immediately cause emotional discomfort in the baby monkey to get it to take action. This all happens so fast, super, super fast, right? So baby monkey falls, her mind does all this stuff, reads this is a threat, this is dangerous, right? And so it like causes this uncomfortable feeling, so that it calls out to its mom, so that baby monkey can reconnect with mom. Because of course, if baby monkey's mind did not do that, didn't cause any discomfort to get baby monkey to take action, she would probably die by herself out there in the wild or get eaten by something. So monkeys, elephants, dolphins, dogs, any sort of pack animals are wired for connection, because disconnection, especially out in the wild, meant two things. It meant one, not being able to mate and pass on our genes, or two, death. So this example gives us insight into how the mammalian or subconscious part of the brain, our human brain, works when it comes to our evolutionary need for connection with other humans. So emotional connection is as essential to human survival and health as it is for animals. We've got to have it. And there's actually this pretty awful experiment that went on called the Frederick's experiment, where there was this kind of curiosity to see what language would children grow up to speak if never spoken to. Kind of a weird and interesting thing to explore. So babies were taken from their mothers at birth and placed in the care of nurses who were not allowed to speak to or touch the infants. I mean, now we're looking back on that like that's freaking crazy. We could probably guess what happened. And as you can imagine, the experiment was cut short because every single baby died because of lack of connection. They were being fed, they were being, their thirst, everything was cared for, but this one need was missing of this connection and affection. And they freaking died, right? So our brains, we still have that part of our brain that we know that if we don't have that connection, we could die. So this need for connection applies throughout our entire life. When adults in romantic relationships, need for connection goes unmet, well, guess what happens? The brain causes an unpleasant, feel bad emotion in our body in order to get us to reconnect with our partner, because our brain thinks we might die or we might not be able to mate and pass on our genes, which is like this evolutionary thing, like gotta do it. Similarly, if we haven't eaten food all day, the brain wants to stop the situation, and the brain causes the discomfort of hunger until we eat food. In the absence of proper hydration in a day, the brain wants to put a stop to that dehydration, so the brain causes the uncomfortable feeling of thirst until we drink something. So the mind is brilliant with this stuff. I mean, it's literally programmed to keep you alive, and you don't even have to think about it. It just happens automatically. So it needs to cause an emotion to get you to take action to stay alive. Just like the mind of a zebra, right, causes the emotion of fear in the zebra. So she runs as fast as she can away from the lion. Because we have an evolutionary drive to be connected with our partner, the brain causes discomfort when it wants the disconnection between you and your partner to stop. So I'm going to just say that one more time, because that's like the big thing. So because we have this evolutionary drive to be connected with our partner, as soon as there's a sense of disconnection, like we're not on the same page emotionally, your brain will cause fear in your body. Sometimes it feels like anger and it comes off as anger, but underneath the anger, we can always find the fear of disconnection, because it wants to stop the disconnection, and the brain is trying to get you to reconnect, just like the brain of zebra is trying to get it to run to survive. So this means that, when you're angry or sad or afraid, your mind, the subconscious part of your mind, right, is like, oh my God, they're not on the same page as me emotionally. Holy shit, this is scary. We got to do something. Holy crap. I'm not going to be able to pass on my genes. I might die. Like it's freaking out. And it's like your mind is, it's almost like a control center. It's like, ooh, this emotion, like anything to try to get her to, or him to reconnect with their partner. So here's the deal. That means that if disconnection is really what's causing you to feel angry or sad or mad in your relationship, then connecting with your partner is the fastest way to feel better. So we can think about this. Does anyone here have a dog? Anyone? Maybe? I think one of you do. So
yeah, two dogs.
Two dogs. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, when your dog wants attention, or it's like feeling like I want something from you, or you're not hearing me, or it's feeling like not on the same page as you, or disconnected from you, what does your dog normally do when it's like, like I'm feeling separate from you? It comes over usually and just like, oh, I'm just gonna rub into you and lean in and connect and hi, I'm here, I want to connect with you, right? So when the dog feels disconnection, its brain causes the emotional discomfort, and it does what, humans really should be doing. It leans in and it reestablishes the connection with you, and it just solves the problem, feeling good again. And then as soon as that dog's feeling connected with you again, the brain stops that emotional discomfort because it's like, cool, we're connected, all good, yay. So here's the difference between surprise, surprise, we're a little bit different from the dog brain because we have this beautiful conscious brain. And that beautiful conscious brain can add meaning to things that are totally neutral, but it can add meaning. And so I say that we are meaning making machines. So our conscious brain, our prefrontal lobe, has the capacity to add and attach meaning to these totally neutral circumstances. And with the ability to add meaning to things, that means we have the capacity to attach blame. So what humans do, instead of leaning in and connecting like a cute little puppy who's like, hey, I was feeling a little cold over there, and I just want some love, I just want to connect, right? We humans are like, you are the reason why I'm feeling this way. And we pull away, we lean away instead of leaning in. And we say, it's your fault I feel this way, obviously causing even further disconnection. You'll never see a dog be like, you know what? You don't care about me. You're yelling. You're making me feel unprioritized, unloved, unsupported. I'm leaving. Right? It just will never happen. A dog does not care what or who is causing the problem of the feeling of discomfort. It doesn't blame the owner. It's like, you've been working all day, I'm feeling disconnected from you. It's just like, hey, I'm feeling something, I'm going to connect. It's just like the automatic evolutionary instinct. Too bad we're not totally wired that way, because we have this capacity to attach meaning, and that allows for blame. And when we blame, it's always the other person's fault, and we lean away, which increases the disconnection, and then it makes things worse. So we're already feeling disconnected, we're already feeling some flavor of shitty, and then we pull away, and then we feel even shittier. It makes absolutely no sense when you start to look at it that way. So what I see in so many relationships is that blame is most people's number one reason why they're unhappy in the relationship and can't seem to have a conversation about their feelings without starting a fight. Blame, as I define it, is the act of willingly handing over all of your power, all of your emotional power, to someone else. This is so important to start to see, because as long as this dynamic is in your relationship and it's in your blind spot, it will continue to dramatically block the flow of connection available between you and your partner. And it will stop you from, being able to feel better, or like maybe there's defensiveness, or maybe there's like anger happening, or sadness, or hurt, or whatever it is. Now, when we say, sometimes, we tend to think or say, it's not me, it's you, like you're the reason I'm feeling this way. Something happens. Your partner says something or does something and you feel annoyed, and then you point a big old finger at them and you say, you are the reason I'm frustrated. And in that moment, you just made the entire situation their fault, something they have to fix, which means there is nothing for you to do. because it's their fault, right? So if it's their fault, they got to fix it. I'm going to be over here. And when there's blame, we sit back and we just wait for them to do something about it. We wait for them to change, wait for them to say something. We act, kind of like passive aggressive, like they should know what they did, right? We've all done that. And you give up all your power to this person who you're actually kind of annoyed with right now, and maybe don't even really like. And you're giving up all your power to them to come save the day for you and fix the situation and make you feel better. And it's just wild when we start to think about it that way. So here's where the magic happens, is that the moment you stop blaming and take ownership, actually, no, that is not where the magic happens. So what I'm saying is the moment that is magic happens. So the moment you stop blaming and take ownership, right, you get kind of all the power back. You're like, okay, well, my mind read what they said as a threat, a perceived threat, right? And my mind is causing me to feel this way. And the fastest way back into connection or back into feeling good is actually connecting. It gives you just so much power. So much power. And so it's that single sentence that can really change everything. And it's just switching it. It's saying, it's not you, it's me, baby. It's my own brain over here. Like I can see that. Like I can definitely see your actions and words are impacting me, but it is my mind that's reading this information and categorizing it as a perceived threat. And so if it's my mind, then I have so much power here. Like I can work with that part of my brain to read what's going on out here with you as non-threatening. This is going to make it so much easier to have a conversation about feelings, emotions, because you're like, okay, I see my mind added some meaning there, and that might not be true. I can start to separate facts from my story about it, and then it's just so much easier to be able to stay calm while you communicate those feelings. So all of this is about empowering you to take back control of how you feel. And this is about no longer letting outside circumstances or people, from stopping you to feel the way you want to feel and be who you want to be. So I just want to share this just amazing, feedback that I got from one of my clients recently on this stuff. And she said, I spent 8 years miserable, disempowered, and stuck, and blaming my partner for our relationship not working. And I blamed him for how I was feeling too, which was mostly resentful and sad and hurt and lonely. So and she was also saying, so anytime she would try to talk about it, of course, it was turning into a fight because he was feeling blamed and criticized and attacked. Because I was saying, you're the reason why I'm feeling this way. And she says, as soon as I finally got that I didn't need him to change to make me happy, and I could, do this work with you to get my emotional brain on board, I felt more free than I felt in a decade. I was able to completely shift everything for myself. I started thinking about myself differently. I started talking to myself differently. I feel so much happier and secure in this relationship. And, my husband and I started being able to have what used to seem like really difficult conversations with so much more calm and kindness and respect for one another. Even after the first 3 sessions of working together, I was able to clear so much resentment and guilt and start living my life again. And the most beautiful, touching part of all of this was she was sharing how her communication with her partner, with her husband, used to be like explosive. And they have a really, young daughter. And she was noticing that how much like her emotional state just rubbed off on her daughter, and how much her husband's emotional state rubbed off on her daughter. And her daughter would be like really fussy and like throw tantrums and all this stuff. And when they started communicating, in this calm, gentle, understanding way about emotions, things totally shifted with how their daughter was feeling and showing up as well. So that was just such a beautiful kind of byproduct of this work, of course, if you have a family. So really the main takeaway here is that you want to start noticing, where am I adding meaning or blame to neutral facts? So here is an example. If you texted your partner and it's been 2 hours and they haven't responded back, here are the facts. I texted him at 12 p.m. It's now 2 p.m. and I haven't received a text back. These facts are totally neutral until your mind adds a meaning to the fact. So you could make that mean something like, he doesn't prioritize me. Or you could make that mean, oh, maybe he's just not much of a phone person. Or you could make that mean, oh, he must be really engaged at work. Or you could just allow the facts to be the facts and just notice, okay, I haven't received text back. It doesn't mean anything about me or him or our relationship. It's the meaning that gets added that causes trouble and disconnection in relationships. So let's say with that example, the person who, doing this with the boyfriend made it mean he doesn't prioritize me. Well, let's look at what goes on with that. So the meaning gets added. So text message comes in, right? Your senses read, your mind processes, adds meaning. He doesn't prioritize me. The emotion that will come up for that person is probably fear of disconnection, fear of not being enough or prioritized, which would mean disconnection, which means, holy shit, I can't mate with this person and I can't pass on my genes. And the thing is with this whole fear of disconnection, I can't pass on my genes and mate, is this lives in this really old, reptilian, animalistic, emotional part of your brain, your subconscious mind. So even if you consciously aren't planning to have kids, maybe you already had kids, maybe you can't have kids, maybe it's not possible, even doesn't matter if any of that stuff, right? Our brain, that part of our brain hasn't updated. So the subconscious part that's fear of disconnection, and our conscious, they don't talk. It's as if you have a typewriter and a brand new MacBook Air. So these software systems do not talk, they don't understand. And this is why in relationships, it can be so explosive. There can be such big dramatic emotion because this damn typewriter is typing. It's like, you will never be able to mate and pass on your genes. You will be fucked. You won't be fucked, actually. You might die. It's just nuts. And the body is reading this, oh, this is really happening. Oh my God, I'm disconnected, and feeling the emotion of fear and anger. It's totally crazy when we start to check it out like that. So yeah, let's see, what do I want to make sure to touch on next? So really, it's looking at this old way of thinking about emotions. That's part of what makes it difficult to share about them in a conversation with your partner. This old way of thinking, it's something outside of me that's causing it. And really what we're looking at here is emotions are caused by our thoughts about what happened and not the circumstance or person itself. When we blame our partner for how we're feeling, one, not accurate. Two, it makes it really difficult for them to listen and want to support you and understand you and validate you. So there's a couple takeaways from what we've gone over so far. I'll just kind of recap sort of what we've talked about so far, and then we're going to get into some specific, okay, how do I phrase this? I get what you're saying, Erica, and if you don't, that's okay, because that means I haven't shared effectively. And I want to give you a chance to ask anything that isn't clear, because that means I'm not doing my job right. So I'm going to share a couple of these things. We'll talk about some specific ways you can actually communicate, and then we'll do some coaching questions. Okay. So here's some big takeaways so far, is that your subconscious mind has one priority. Let's try that. One priority, and that's to keep you alive. And then if the survival thing is taken care of, then maybe it's interested in thriving. But it's really just focused on, let's keep this person alive. It's reading your partner or kid or boss as a freaking lion and creating all this freaking emotional turmoil in us, right? So next piece here is all emotions, such as fear or anger, are created by how the mind processes information. If mind reads information, what it's seeing or hearing or smelling, as a perceived threat, then it will cause either fear or anger or something else that doesn't feel good in the body. So a wild example of this, like I say perceived threat, and actually this will be my next point, is both fear and anger are an emotional and physiological response to a perceived threat. And that perceived threat within the context of your relationship is disconnection. If I'm disconnection, that means I'm not going to be able to mate and pass on my genes. So it's a perception. It's all a perception. And like let's look at the zebra again for a second. So let's say the zebra is chilling and it steps in a hole and like breaks its foot, and a vet gets sent out to repair the zebra's ankle. And the zebra has never been touched by a human before, and so its mind is reading vet as perceived threat. Oh my god, what is this? And it's like all this fear going on. Its heart rate speeds up. Its legs get really strong because it wants to run away from the vet. But the zebra, of course, is not really in danger. It's just its mind's perception, which is often not reality. On the other hand, let's say the zebra is out grazing, and its head is down, and unbeknownst to the zebra, there is a hunter in the bushes with a rifle pointed right at the zebra's head. Well, the zebra's mind hasn't perceived that threat yet. There's no perceived threat. It's just chilling, eating grass, doing its thing. But in this case, it actually is in danger. And so we can just see how our minds, like it's totally non-logical with this whole threat stuff. I'm going to take a sip of tea. Okay, another takeaway here is subconscious mind causes uncomfortable emotions for one reason. It wants to get you to take an action or make something stop. So it wants you to take the action of, in your relationship, if you're feeling some kind of way, it wants you to reconnect. The mind might cause the feeling of hunger, right? To get you to eat. It might cause the feeling of thirst to get you to drink. This is like all survival stuff. And it just happens automatically. Now let's look at, some takeaways regarding your relationship. And this will really kind of help bring this all together to see like, okay, like, well, what do I do here? What's the takeaway? So, one big thing, your feelings are caused by your mind reading data, right? Reading info, not by your partner. So when you're sharing about your feelings, it will be really helpful to communicate them in a way where you're not blaming your partner for how you feel. Or saying things like, you made me feel this way, or you make me feel this way. What this allows for is your partner to really show up for you, to really listen with the intent to understand. rather than listening to try to like defend and like dodge bullets, right? So the last kind of takeaway, and then we'll move into some examples of stuff, is if you're feeling angry or afraid, and flavors of angry and afraid are frustrated, insecure, anxious, that sad even, right? Like if you're feeling anything that doesn't feel great, connecting with that person is the fastest way to feel better. Okay. Let's see. I think I have just a few things where we're actually going to get into like the how to, like how would I communicate this to my partner? Anyone have a question before we get into that? And you can unmute or just share it in the chat. Whatever works for you. Hey, Mark, what's going on? Good to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. So where in that there's two things really go on for us. One is, there never seems to be, a good time to talk about things because it was a rough week or we're really tired or something like that. So, that's part of it, is like how to judge. I try and like guess when's a good time. And then the other thing is that where does like hurt feelings show up on the spectrum? So if you're bringing up something and you're not blaming, but then it's easy to kind of take it on like you're bringing it up because something's not working or something's broken or something like that.
Yeah, got it. So
because it's not as polarized as fear or anger, but it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. So what you're asking is, when I'm sharing I have hurt feelings, how do I do that in a way that they're not feeling blamed or attacked, or
how do you set it up for it's like, a good time? Because if you're out having a bunch of fun and you bring it up, then you're like the buzzkill, right? And it's like, I've been so tired this week, or we're having so much fun. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
Don't want to be the
Definitely.
Whatever it
So so it's kind of first of all, I like to schedule things, or even just ask, hey, is this an okay time that I could share something with you? When you are actually feeling good and connected is the best time to share. And it is interesting, like thinking, oh, if we're out having a good time, I don't want to bring it up because then I'm going to be a buzzkill. And when you're feeling good and connected and having a good time, that's when you're going to be most grounded and calm about it, because you're like, oh, I'm feeling the threat is no longer here. It was back there yesterday, but because I'm feeling connected to this person, there's definitely not anger or fear going on here. There still might be an emotional bruise from whatever happened, earlier that week. So, you get to explore this with your partner, with your wife, and see, and just kind of, I look at it as like asking for consent to share. And it's as simple as like, hey, can I share something with you? And even that sets it up for, ooh, there's going to be something maybe real shared right now.
Okay.
The other time and space that I like to share stuff is setting up a time to connect at least once a week, where it's like this space where you can come together. There might be a stressor shared, there might be something shared, but that like set aside sacred space that you both know we're going to come together, because busy lives, right?
So I know you like have a boyfriend. So how did you, like early in your relationship, how do you set up, in the dating world, you've got people that are commitment phobic and all that. So how did you set up, let's put something on the schedule?
I think we both kind of had the idea And we're like, hey, should we started having pretty real, authentic conversations very early into dating. And it just like, it was already kind of happening.
Right.
And, we were both like, hey, like maybe we should like, what is it? Should we do this like every Sunday? And, every Sunday for as long as we've known each other, basically, we come together. And mostly that time is used for appreciations and acknowledgments and sharing any stressors or open loops. Sometimes we'll get into a conversation about, hey, when this happened, I felt a certain kind of way, or we all get into this a little bit, but we use this languaging of parts. Like a part of me felt this. It's not like that's another way to kind of de-escalate. It's not like all
Right.
of me is hurt and sad and whatever, but there's a part of me that was feeling something. Right.
And you had said in there that you share, what'd you say, appreciation, and did you say acknowledgments? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So our sacred Sundays, time for connection, start with appreciation, or acknowledgement. Like I appreciate this, and this about you, about your character, about how you showed up this week. When you did that for me, I felt so loved. Really kind of letting each other in on our experience. Sometimes we will add in, when did you feel most connected to me? And when did you feel least connected to me? And when did you feel most connected to yourself and least connected to yourself? Because of course there's that important relationship as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And then another important thing that we like to share in those meetings is like anything that's like upcoming that might feel stressful, or any kind of like open loops where it's like, I keep thinking about this, I haven't done it, blah, blah, blah. For instance, I hosting this workshop here tonight, and there was a bit of prep work involved in getting you all here and, putting together what I wanted to share and express. And so I shared that with my boyfriend, like, hey, just a reminder, I've got this thing coming up. So I might be like working more than usual and kind of like preoccupied with thinking about what I'm gonna share, what I'm gonna present. So that gives him, so if I'm not just like acting weird and like
Right.
working so much and not connecting with him as much as I normally do. It's like, oh, she's got this thing. It's not that she's like being weird and not connecting with me.
That reminded me, one thing that we've tried to do is when we go to like extended family events,
Yeah.
we try and set like an outcome. And so one thing that was important to my wife was like, okay, how long are we going to be here and what's our exit strategy? Because
Totally.
I'll just
Right.
get to where I'm just like talking with everybody and all that, and I have a tendency to
Yeah.
get sociable and stay longer. And she's like, okay, where's the ripcord in this deal, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I can kind of
Totally.
map that over to some of these other things, because
Right.
you really do have to kind of set your intention and boundaries sometimes in advance for those things. So
Absolutely.
okay,
Absolutely.
thanks.
Yeah. Having a game plan like that is great. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna share a bit more. I'm just gonna I'll share my screen with you all so you can kind of see a couple like super simple, like giving you like word for word, here's what you might say, here's how you might start a conversation. Okay. So here's what this looks like. Okay. Is this big enough? Big enough for everybody to see? Thumbs up. Okay. So I find it helpful to start with this tool called the thought model. And I know some of you already know this fun tool, but we're just going to review it. And then I'm going to share a bit more about how to apply it. Like, how would you actually communicate it? So I find it super helpful that if I'm feeling a certain kind of feeling, I run it through this thought model. just so I can really get clear on what the heck it is that I'm thinking and feeling and separate it from the facts, which is the neutral circumstance. This prevents blame from happening because you get to see, oh, it was my mind that added that meaning. All right, okay, that's my emotion, in my body. Let's see, anything else on that? Nope, I don't think so. Okay, so neutral circumstance. And I can actually use if one of you guys has something going on, I can actually work through this with one of you. And what we would be looking at is like, if there's a feeling or a thought or even a result that you're like, not so keen on that. If there is a feeling of frustration or hurt or whatever it is, we can look at what's actually going on here and get clear. That way, when you go to communicate with your partner, it's not this like explosion of emotion and words and brr, and you like don't quite have your thoughts straight. The like more simply and concisely you can communicate your feelings, the easier it is for your partner to understand. So if I'll just make one up. So let's look at my partner. Let's do a fun one. Okay. I was in the mood for sex and, whatever, kissed my partner. And she kissed me back, but then walked away. Okay. We could make our mind, right? Like just like the zebra, like this is the lion, is this circumstance here. Our mind might read that as threat, disconnection, scary. She doesn't really care about me. Or something like, I'm not good enough for her. She rejected me. Ouch. Right? So there goes this lovely mind, trying to keep you alive, wanting connection. And of course, the feeling here. And I'm going to say this, a lot of, I find people sometimes like takes a second to get it, but you guys are going to get this fast because you get this whole zebra thing. But really what's going on here is fear. And you might call it hurt feelings, anger. You might even say I'm feeling rejected, which, I don't know if I like so much as a feeling because it doesn't really get to the heart of it. So if you're feeling rejected and separated and disconnected, really what's going on, your mind is fear in the body, or like even like anxiety is a flavor of fear. Actually, anxiety is your body's, that's a whole nother thing for another day, but it's your body's afraid of your own fear response is what anxiety is. So we'll do a whole nother workshop on anxiety, but anyway, so we have this fear going on. And then again, remember the mind is only causing emotion to try to get you to take action to reconnect with your partner. Just like the baby monkey felt fear when it fell off mom's back. The baby monkey, however, went, mom, come back, right? Like connect and then, Or your dog is like, I'm feeling disconnected and over here and cold over by myself. And there's that emotional discomfort and it comes and rubs in you. And then it's like, I feel good, right? So this, however, because of this silly meaning that the mind adds, she doesn't really care about me, or I'm not good enough for her, or she rejected me, ouch. And then we're like, blame, you're the reason why I'm feeling this. Then we lean out and we pull back, or we act kind of like grumpy and right. And let's say that, we lean out grumpy, sassy attitude. Just an example. Result, more disconnection. Shit. So didn't solve the problem there. What we want to look to, what we want to get to is this, we can take the exact same circumstance, same facts, totally same facts. And instead of adding that, I mean, your mind might add that meaning, that's okay. But what we want to get to is like, let's say that there's that, that feeling of fear, right? Like the uncomfortable feeling of like, you might call it again, like rejection or hurt feeling. Oh my gosh, rejection, hurt feelings, like denied, ouch, right? So if that's going on, that is your cue for your conscious mind, because your subconscious mind doesn't know shit. It thinks that your partner is a lion and it's like, bah! It's trying to get you to connect. So as soon as you feel that uncomfortable feeling of disconnection, what we want to get to is you do what the baby monkey and the dog does. Go snuggle up next to your partner. Go grab her butt. I don't know, go connect. You're much better off going and connecting again than you are this route of leaning out, grumpy attitude, whatever, more disconnection, right? Because here's the result is connection. Yay. And then your mind goes, we're all good again. And the uncomfortable feeling stops in the body. So knowing this, now that you know this, that like, if I'm feeling that sort of like disconnected, not so goodness, knowing this, you can just connect. And then once you're connected, that is a great time to have a conversation about feelings with your partner, because you're not reacting anymore. You're like, your whole nervous system is calm because you're connected with this person you love. Your subconscious mind isn't freaking out. It's not trying to get you to run away from a lion. You're not in survival mode, and you're able to just like, your prefrontal lobe is like on board, it's online, and you can have that logical, reasonable, calm, cool, collected conversation. And so the way, part of why I like to do these thought models before I even have a conversation with my partner is to get clear on what was I making it mean. So the meaning added, you don't care about me. And then how was I feeling? Because then it's really easy to communicate it, right? So like right now, or, I have a few just examples written out here for you guys, but here, this is a good example. When you like kind of kissed me, but then walked away, the story I told myself is, you're rejecting me, and you don't really want me. And I get the sense, the story I'm telling myself, or I get the sense, and I felt afraid, disconnected. And what I needed in that moment was physical connection with you, or reassurance that I think you're totally hot. I want to be with you, but like, let me just go finish this thing and then let's go do it. Or, whatever it is, right? So whenever there is some kind of feeling, there's usually an unmet need as well. And when I'm talking about needs too, it's things like connection, reassurance, safety, security. It's not like I need you to do blah, 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 or I need you to not do that. That's not the kind of need I'm talking about. And just realizing like, what are my basic human needs here? And in this example, and in every relationship, it's always 100% of the time going to be connection. And that might come in the form of something like reassurance, connection, which is reassuring, right? So here's a couple golden rules of communication. And, the title of this workshop being how to communicate your feelings without starting a fight. We want to look at, okay, what do I want to avoid? What kind of communication patterns do I want to avoid to keep things like calm and, not escalating into something. So this first one is say when instead of always and never. So, we get into this like black and white, all or nothing thinking when we are, guess what, afraid or angry, because our logical brain shuts down and our emotional brain is on, and it's like really dramatic. It's like, you never care about me. You never cuddle with me anymore. You always, do that in front of my friends. And it's just like, it's never true that way. And so you can just switch it to say like, when you blah, 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 this is what goes on for me, instead of the always never thing. Another one here is saying I would like, not you should or you shouldn't. I don't want you guys shoulding on your partner. It doesn't feel good and it's not effective. So, I would like it if you, texted me back before you go to bed, not you should, right? It just, the whole shoulding thing, immediately causes defensiveness in somebody else. Another one is you can say, I feel blank, not blaming, criticizing, or name calling. It can, like, again, when the mind is causing anger or fear in the body, again, in relationships, it's most of the time like it shows up as anger on the surface and frustration on the surface. And underneath that, what's going on is your mind is just like, holy shit, I'm afraid of this disconnection. And sometimes the mind will even like trigger angry thoughts, angry actions. It's like trying to get you, like it thinks the anger is going to help you reconnect with the partner, and it never does, of course. So truly, like in communicating feelings, it's actually communicating feelings. That's the focus. I feel sad. I feel hurt. I feel afraid. I feel insecure. I feel anxious. Right? This is just like you owning how you're feeling and letting your partner in on your experience. Now, the other part of this feeling thing that can be really helpful is sharing your actual physiological experience. So you could say like, I've been noticing I've been feeling really, hurt. And it kind of feels like this like pit in my stomach and like these weird, painful, like fluttery butterfly things in my chest and like tingling in my hands. And it just like that's what's going on for me. And so this does two things. Sharing the physical, your experience is that it's an inarguable truth. Your partner cannot argue with that. There's nothing to argue about because you're just sharing, like, I feel this like pit in my stomach. I feel this like pressure in my chest. Now, if you were saying, I feel disrespected, which isn't a feeling, by the way, there's the experience, your mind's reading, adding meaning. They're being disrespectful, right? There's the experience of the disrespect, and then there's the feeling under that creates, which is probably anger or fear of disconnection, right? So if you said like, I feel disrespected right now, your partner could argue that to the moon and back until they're blue in the face, and they could be like, well, I'm not disrespecting you, you're disrespecting me. And then you're just like off on a whole nother tangent. It's not even what you were talking about. It's like arguing what respect is, right? It gets crazy. So sharing an actual feeling and keeping it simple. It's like mad, sad, glad, afraid, these basic feelings. There's like, I don't know, there's like 5 of them that guilt, shame, like there's like some basic human emotions. And then there's all these like 1,000 offshoots that people talk about. But when you're communicating, sticking with like sad, hurt, angry, ashamed, guilty, embarrassed, like those are pretty safe to communicate. Another one. So if you or your partner, like you can share some of this with your partner too, but if you have the tendency to kind of get quiet, if your partner is sharing something, or even if you're trying to share emotion, I know some of you on this call don't have any problem with communicating. There's no quiet issue there. But some people do. They kind of like freeze a little bit. And communicating like, this is challenging for me, instead of radio silence or walking away, is going to be much like giving your partner some sort of response is going to help de-escalate and keep things centered. So last piece, again, on emotions, because so common in the English language, we'll say, I feel this and I feel that and I feel this. And we're not even sharing feelings. Like, I feel like you never do this for me anymore. I feel like you're always late, or I feel like you should do this, or I feel like you shouldn't do that. None of those are emotions, and they're not going to be helpful in communicating your emotions to your partner. So instead of that, saying, I think X and I feel Y. So I think, or it would be nice if you texted me back before you went to bed. When you don't, I feel sad, right? So that clearing out all these things that are lead with an I feel, but actually aren't a feeling. We wanted to just clear that gunk out, so your communication is really clear, simple, and effective. And then the last piece of this, you guys don't need this anymore, is the conversation around, and I mentioned it briefly, but the conversation around parts. And so this stems from something called internal family systems therapy. I call it parts work because I do it a little bit differently. But it's looking at that we are made up of parts of ourselves. We have these like sub personalities. You might say a part of me feels this, but another part of me wants that. So we use it in language all the time, but we really don't notice what we're talking about and what we're saying. And it's almost like that. I know some of you know this movie, Inside Out, the Pixar movie, where we see inside the little girl's head, and there's anger and sadness and joy and, these other emotions. And it's like these little characters. And so that's how I like to start thinking about myself and my own parts is, and especially like the younger parts of me. Typically when we are upset in something to do with our partner, there's like a younger part of us that's hurt. And this is why I say underneath anger, there's always fear. And there might be a part of you that's angry. And there's another part of you that is scared and insecure and really, worried about whatever it is. And so I find it so relieving to be able to like chat with my partner, especially about kind of like difficult subjects that are like, could be really tricky to navigate, or there could be some defensiveness or some hurt feelings. When my boyfriend says, okay, like, and he'll usually preface it with a laugh. And like, okay, this is kind of funny, but there's this, like, can I share I have this part that's doing some talking, right? It sounds like little voices inside of our head. I mean, it's what that, like all these little parts chatting. So he'll be like, there's this part of me that is saying, you never take out the trash. We had this conversation last night. And it was just funny because, and he's just laughing because it's just like, it's kind of a ridiculous thing, but he's like, yeah, there's this part of me that's like the trash monitor. And he's like, she never takes out the trash. And we just kind of like are able to laugh about it. And it's not like all of him that is like, you never take out the trash. You're bad. I'm mad at you. I'm annoyed with you. It's kind of like, okay, all right, that's fine. It's completely, I think a lot of times it's actually kind of humorous. But I definitely invite all of you to start exploring parts work. And a great book to do that is there's one called No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz. There's also another book called Self Therapy by Jay Early, and they're both incredible. And it'll just kind of give you that framework. You could even, I think you could probably even find something on YouTube. It's like Introduction to Parts Work or Introduction to IFS, Internal Family Systems. So when you are communicating the feelings, especially around hot subjects, it can be incredibly helpful to say, a part of me is feeling sad when a part of you did blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay. That is all I have to share today. And I really want to open it up to questions, comments, concerns, anything you got. We can do some coaching, whatever, however you guys want to use the time and space for the rest of the night. And hello, Adelaide. Good to see your face. Yeah. So yeah, how's all that landing? And yeah, any questions or like anything you're dealing with or anything you want to ask me, like I'm a total open book. I'll share it all. And if nobody has questions, we can actually do some experiential emotional clearing. This is the kind of thing that I do with my one-on-one clients. But hey, if nobody has questions, let's get to work. Yeah. So, and for those of you who are here meeting me for the first time, I don't even think I even really introduced myself at the beginning, but my name is Erica Wright, and I am a relationship coach, communication specialist, and I work with both individuals and couples to help them just navigate the ins, the outs of relationship. And there also is just this element of deep healing work that we do together. And really, like, I truly believe that we attract in these partners that can be these puzzle pieces to some of this deeper energetic work. And we can do a lot of healing on our own, but there is this like relational healing that just like nothing replaces that at all whatsoever. So, and what I bring into my practice is I pull from all sorts of different methods and modalities, and some of it I make up myself, but really my bread and butter is internal family systems or parts work. And then I'm also trained in something called rapid resolution therapy or RRT. And so that's where we're really looking at this stuff with the mind, like the subconscious mind. If you're having an emotional response to something where you're consciously like, okay, that's not that big of a deal, or you're just like, why can't I do that? I had a client that was like, it drives my partner crazy when I'm late and I like cannot for the life of me be on time. We want to look at like what is going on in your subconscious programming. We want to do that deep rewiring so it's easy for you to be how you want to be, feel how you want to feel, think how you want to think. Yeah. It's pretty fun stuff. It kind of feels like magic is what a lot of my clients say, like, what is this? Like, what is this? What is this stuff? And yeah, it's a pretty beautiful thing. A lot of, we're involving the body. We're doing something called multi-level communication. So we're talking to your conscious mind and then going down to the subconscious mind. So we want to get into the subconscious so we can get to the little, just tiny little tweaks, of whatever needs to be updated. Is it RRT? Yes, RRT. Dr. John Connolly is the founder of that. He does absolutely amazing work. So yeah, it's just like I'm in the business of change. Like let's get this done fast and really like get you and your minds operating in a way that really works for you, your partner, your relationship, your life, all that fun stuff. So, we're human beings, and we feel things. We do. We feel things. And so all of you who came on the call today, I'm sure there's a feeling there that's not doesn't feel so great. Or you could think of something in the past where there's still something there. Like maybe it's resentment or guilt or shame or even some fear around whatever it is. And so for this experiential exercise where we're actually going to be clearing some stuff. Oh yeah, terror of conflict, so I avoid. Yeah, totally, for sure. Yep. So yeah, so and Adelaide, oh my gosh, I just love that name. So we're for you, we're looking at, okay, your mind is already projecting out into the future of like, oh my God, I could have this conversation, but it feels really scary. Yeah. And in that example, we want to get your subconscious mind, to see that even if you initiate that conversation and it doesn't go well, you're not going to get dead. You will still be living. Even if whoever you're talking to doesn't receive you well, or misunderstands you, or heaven forbid calls you a name, or says you're too needy, you're too much, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, all this stuff. So it's so common that our mind reads that as threat, scary, right? And what's going on is yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. So literally, just like I think you came in late, but like if a zebra sees a lion and reads threat, scary, like I could die, what happens is the mind sees the lion, takes it in, reads it threat, and then it causes the emotion of fear in the body. So the zebra's legs get really, really, really strong so it can dart. Yeah. So we want to make sure that next time you're thinking about sharing your feelings with somebody or having a conversation, that we don't need your legs really strong. we don't need that, right? We want your mind free and open and calm and creative and collaborative, and maybe even a little like curious or playful.
That's helpful.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So we can look at you've been experiencing a terror, as you say, of conflict. And we want to move into where it's just calm, cool, and collected. And so what we could say is that, again, we want to just look at, okay, this is my mind is processing data. And so we want to look at just like the terror there, the fear is like just like a tiny little blip in the processor, right? It's working great, but there's just like a tiny little blip. And it's almost like there's a like a coffee grinder, and there's beans in a coffee grinder, right? And they're going through. But now if you throw in a bean that is globbed in peanut butter, it's not going to process very well. And so typically what happens in human beings' life is something happens in our life. Our mind reads it as threat, scary, maybe a past conversation didn't go well, or we watched our parents fight, or whatever it is. And we just got that little like globby peanut buttery thing that's like, it can't get through. So I just call that a data blip. Like there's nothing wrong with the processor, nothing wrong with how your mind's processing, but just we got a little something stuck there. And the peanut butter is like, we could look at that as like the meaning that was added, whatever that circumstance was. Right?
Yeah, the feeling of unsafe.
Yeah, totally. Like this is unsafe, right? So we want to just kind of like flush that bit through. Not necessarily like the feeling, but we just like, once we can flush that through, your mind is clear, things are processing, all good. So, and like this can, all of you can join in this together. It's not necessarily specific to this, but it is it is like a general like clearing. So if we were to and this is for all of you now, like if you can kind of feel into like what emotion, what like little, assuming that all of you have some little data blips, which we all do because we're human beings, right? But like, what color would we want to represent that with? Like, would it be a color, or would it be like a black, white, gray, or like a squiggly line? Like just looking at like what's, the thing that's kind of been causing this like data, this processor error, just finding like a design or like a color to represent it with. So just bring that to mind. And that's what we're actually going to be flushing and clearing, this gunk. You can just think of it as gunk. What gunk do I want to release today? Emotional gunk, great to release. So I don't know, if you see a squiggly line or like dots or spikes or whatever, and maybe it's gray or black, just kind of get that in mind, and then we're done with that. And then our intention here is that we are clearing, that we are coming together, that you are all here in this space to feel light and at ease and free to be. Oh, just free to be, free to communicate, free to share, free to connect with the people that you love, free to connect with yourself. And, I'm seeing all of you at the end of this week, kind of with this like stupid grin on your face, like, whoa, something shifted. And I am feeling really connected to myself. I am feeling lighter and brighter and calmer and more centered. And with that, with our intentions coming together, we could say that our energy is coming together on this intention. And that when energy comes together, it expands and gets more powerful. And we can use that energy, you and I coming together here, to fuel this shift that's already underway. And so if we were to represent that energy with a color, just bring to mind, what might that color be? This beautiful energy that's fueling the shift. It's already underway. And if this energy were to have a scent, what would it be? And just smelling that scent for a moment that feels familiar or comforting or just yummy. And then with this beautiful energy that's already fueling this shift, that's going to help us flush out this gunk today, add an inspiring wild animal. What would that be? And that's perfect. Exactly what came to mind is the perfect combination and concoction that will create this shift, clear this gunk, and allow for your mind to free up so that you're free and light and clear and able to connect with yourself and the people you love. And so we're going to now use your breath to fuel this shift even more. And what this looks like is I will have you all, when I say, take a deep breath in all the way to the top. And then as you release, slowly releasing, you're going to see that gunk, whatever that kind of data blip, whatever that you just want to clear out, you're just going to see it like releasing like steam from your body. You can also see that gunk slapped onto the end of an arrow, like a shooting arrow, and shoot it and watch it going farther and farther and farther away from your chest as you're breathing out. And your breath is literally moving energy, like physically moving energy in your body. So as you're releasing, you are clearing. That's how it works. So once you get to the end of the exhale, we're going to switch in and we're going to use that powerful energy with that beautiful color, that scent, and that inspiring animal. And you'll see that, you'll smell it, you'll see the color, and breathe in all the way to the top. And then we'll release again, and I'll just count you through this. The beauty of this is that your mind and body are already on board. They already know what to do. There's just this beautiful intelligence of the body. The body wants to heal. So it's always in action healing. And this is just going to fuel and accelerate that. So on your next inhale, just take that air all the way in, all the way to the top, slowly, slowly in. And release. And take that breath in, see that color, smell that smell, see that inspiring animal all the way to the top. And again, release. Clearing, releasing, seeing that arrow shoot. And breathe it in. See that animal, see that color. Smell that smell. And again, release. And take it in, breathing in all that beautiful energy that's yours, that you created with that animal, that color, that scent, all the way to the top. Ooh. And release. Releasing that gunk. Out it goes. Steam leaving your body. And pull that energy in with your breath all the way to the top. That beautiful color, that beautiful energy, that beautiful light. And again, release. And pulling that breath in. And releasing. And one more breath in. And on your next exhale, imagine a beautiful, sparkling waterfall coming down over your head. Cleansing, clearing, rejuvenating, updating, releasing. Your mind is clear. Your mind is present. You have access to creativity and wisdom and play. You have access to yourself. And in this space, you can really tap into who you really are. Your attention gets brought inward to your core, to your center, to the light, to the energy of your being. It's the same feeling you felt last time you were out in nature and you saw something that was exciting, like you felt excited and peaceful at the same time, just in awe. And in that moment, out in nature, we could say that really what was happening was your attention was just being drawn inward. Your attention was being drawn into the center of you. And that peaceful excitement is actually your light, the essence of you. And who you are is love, peace, connection, courage, creativity, playfulness, wisdom. And you notice that here at the center of you, everything's okay. This energy, this light, this essence can never be created or destroyed. The only thing that can touch this you, this light, is other light, is love. So you have a body, but you are not your body. You have a foot, but you are not a foot. You have an arm, but you definitely don't introduce yourself as an arm. Your arm is yours, but it's not you. Your shoulder is yours, but it's not you. What you are is that energy and that light, that peacefulness dropped with some excitement. That's you. So people can mess with your emotions. They can touch your body. They can hurt your body. They can mess with your thoughts and feelings, but they can never touch you. They can never harm you. You have a foot, but you are not a foot. You are this light. And from this space, now that you and your attention has really been brought back to who you are, just scan around your internal world and see if there is any part of you there that would like some love, some attention, some connection. Just check to see if there's any part of you that's afraid of something. Maybe it's a younger part of you. A 7-year-old you. A 12-year-old you. Whatever you notice is perfect. And if nothing comes to mind, that's okay too. But just see. And if you are sensing a part of you there that could really use a little bit of connection, just move closer toward that part of you. And let that part of you know that I see you, I feel you, and you are so welcome here. And notice how your presence, just your presence, you, completely shifts how that part was feeling. Notice the change in body language. And you may even want to just scoop that part up in your arms and give it a big hug and hold it, rock it gently like a child. Because maybe it is a child, it is a younger part of you. And see what that part needs most. What do you need right now? And oftentimes, these parts of us get stuck in the past. They get stuck in those moments that felt scary or hurtful. And so we want to bring this part of you with you to your current moment, to your present life. And something comes to mind where you felt so incredibly excited and happy and accomplished. You were on top of the world. Some moment. And bring that part of you with you to that moment where you were just on top of the world. You're like, I got this. This is amazing. Look at what I'm doing. Look at my life. Look at this. And show that part of you that, hey, this is what you have to look forward to. I know you went through some gunk back there, gosh, but hey, it was all leading to this moment. You're not stuck. You're not back there. You're no longer stuck. You're no longer stuck. You aren't stuck. You're here with me. There is a future. It is bright. Take a look. What is happening in your life? Give this part a tour. Bring them to moments that felt good, that are amazing. There's another moment that comes to mind where you were just full of joy and gratitude. What's that moment? And let that part of you come along for the ride. Showing this part of you, they're not stuck. They're not back there. They're not in that space. They're here with you. And notice what's shifted. Notice what's cleared. Notice what's lightened, if anything. if it feels okay, kneel down next to that part of you and just look her or him in the eye, making that contact, that beautiful, intimate, connected eye contact. Letting that part of you know, I am here. I've got your back. Anything you need, anything. We're in this together. And next time that part of you is piping up or feeling a certain kind of way, scared, uncertain, hurt feelings, that part of you can come to you first. You are the best medicine for this part. That light, that energy, that color, that scent, that animal. You are the best medicine for these parts of you. And now that you know this, and now that you've gone deeper in this space, it'll be easy and faster to tap right back here, to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Anytime you want to come back to this space where your mind is responsive, it's clear, free. You have access to this deep wisdom, creativity, love, peace. You have access to you. This is you. This is you. And so now that your attention has been brought back to the essence of who you are, you can walk and move freely, just being you the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the month. And when you're just being you, it's so simple and easy to communicate feelings with your partner. Just flows off your tongue. And so just check to see if there's anything else that needs to be done or addressed or tended to in this space. Really checking in with any part of you. And letting this part that was so courageous and open to connect with you know that you'll be back and you're listening. Now that you know they're there and they know you're here and you guys are a team, creating that beautiful, secure bond of attachment between you and all these parts of you. And that color, that scent, that inspiring animal comes to mind. A moment where you felt total joy, delight, gratitude comes to mind. that wild animal comes to mind, that color, that scent comes to mind. I love and accept you exactly as you are. And whenever you're ready, you can start moving your fingers, your toes, your shoulders, coming back into your body, coming back into the space. Mm. Mm. Welcome back. Thanks for going on that journey with me. Yeah. And if there's anything you want to say or share or express, by all means. Yeah. And if you just want to melt off into that and go to bed early. Yeah. 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 Of course. You're welcome, Mark. You're welcome. Yeah. Thank you all for showing up and participating and bringing your beautiful energy here so we can co-create and collaborate. Yeah. Yeah. Yay. Cool. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll probably do another one of these things again. So I'll definitely keep you all in the loop. And yeah, reach out to me on Instagram or TikTok. And yeah, of course, I love and working with individuals and couples. And yeah, if there's anything, the beauty, of being able to work one-on-one is that we get to get so specific with how your mind is processing information and do those little tweaks, those little updates, so that your body is calm, your mind is calm, clear, free, just able to function as you wish. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I will drop my yeah, cool. I'll send that to you, Mark. Yeah, I'll drop my email here in the chat too if you guys want to reach out to me. So it's erica@therighterica.com. My last name is Wright. Yeah, erica@therighterica.com. A direct message to that. So I'll put it in for everyone in meeting. Yay. Perfect. Yeah. And yes, just my heart is just so open, and I'm so grateful to have you, and thank you, Mark and Adelaide for being here. I love to see a face so I can really feel your energy and sense you and see what's going on. Yeah. Okay. Reach out with any questions. And Renee, so good to see you too. Yeah, reach out to me with any questions. Happy to answer anything. I'll send out a replay, once all gets downloaded. And until next time, friends.
Thanks for
Such a
all your hard
beautiful
work
night.
putting this together.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
So nice
Of
to
course.
see you. I've been meaning to get back with you, so this is great.
Yeah,
So thank you.
perfect. Good reconnection.
You need to water your plants, though. They look like they're
Yeah, these plants back here.
Yeah, no, and you
They're
need to
so
shut
thirsty.
your door so the mosquitoes don't get in.
Yeah, totally. Yep, I know.
All right.
Oh my
See you
gosh.
later.
Okay,
Thank you.
good night,
Bye.
everybody. Talk to you all soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.